Most people believe intelligence is the most important force shaping their lives. They believe better information leads to better outcomes, that smarter people make fewer mistakes, that knowledge protects those who possess it. Ray Dalio learned something far more unsettling. Intelligence is not the dominant force inside the system. Behavior is, not individual behavior, but collective behavior. How large groups of people respond to incentives, pressure, comfort, fear, and uncertainty, and why those responses repeat, even when history clearly shows where they lead. After decades studying markets, economic collapses, political cycles, and human decision-making, Ray Dalio reached a conclusion that challenged nearly everything he once believed. People do not fail because they lack information. They fail because emotion overrides discipline at precisely the moment discipline matters most. The system does not require ignorance to function. It only requires human nature. Dalio noticed something deeply consistent across every cycle he studied. The surface details changed. Technology evolved. Institutions adapted. Financial instruments became more complex. But beneath the surface, behavior barely moved. Different centuries, different countries, same reactions. This is why history never truly repeats itself, but it always rhymes. At the beginning of every major cycle, behavior is cautious. The memory of the last collapse is still fresh. People remember losses. They remember pain. They remember fear. Risk feels dangerous. Leverage feels irresponsible. Optimism feels naive. Decision-making is restrained. But restraint is not stable. It erodes quietly over time. As stability persists, perception changes. When nothing goes wrong for long enough, people stop preparing for failure. Losses feel theoretical. Warnings feel outdated. Caution feels unnecessary. Confidence grows slowly, then suddenly. And confidence alters behavior long before people notice it. Borrowing begins to feel reasonable. Leverage begins to feel efficient. Risk-taking is reframed as intelligence. People stop asking whether something could fail and start asking how much more they can extract from it. This is not stupidity. It is adaptation. Human behavior adjusts to recent experience, not long-term reality. Ray Dalio understood that systems quietly amplify this tendency. Short-term rewards are concrete. Long-term consequences are abstract. The system pays immediately and delays the cost. And when cost is delayed long enough, behavior adapts to ignore it. Dalio saw this pattern repeat across markets and nations. Investors chase performance near market peaks, not because they are irrational, but because recent success feels reliable. Governments delay painful decisions not because leaders are corrupt, but because voters reward comfort and punish restraint. Individuals borrow assuming tomorrow will be better than today, not because they are careless, but because recent history suggests it will be. The system does not need bad actors, it only needs predictable ones. Fear and greed are often described as opposites. Ray Dalio learned they are phases. Greed dominates during expansion. Fear dominates during contraction. And both override rational judgment. In good times, people underestimate risk. In bad times, they overestimate it. In both cases, behavior shifts at exactly the wrong moment. When markets rise, people extrapolate. They assume recent success will continue. They believe the system has changed, that this time is different. When markets fall, panic takes over. They assume recent pain will never end. They abandon plans. They liquidate positions. They react emotionally to pressure. Dalio realized something critical. Even when people understand cycles intellectually, they still behave as if this time is unique. Knowledge does not override emotion, structure does. This insight changed how Dalio approached decision-making. He stopped trusting instinct. He stopped relying on confidence. Instead, he began designing systems, not systems based on opinion, systems based on cause and effect. Dalio's principles were not philosophical ideas meant to inspire. They were mechanical tools designed to constrain behavior, rules that force consistency when emotion fails, processes that reduce the influence of fear and overconfidence, frameworks that treat human error as inevitable, not exceptional. Most people never do this. They rely on judgment when pressure is highest. They trust intuition precisely when intuition is least reliable. They mistake emotional conviction for clarity. The system does not punish ignorance. It punishes inconsistency. Those who survive cycles are not necessarily calmer or smarter. They are better structured. Their decisions are constrained by rules that exist before pressure arrives. Over time, Dalio noticed another repeating illusion. People believe awareness equals immunity. They think knowing about cycles protects them from participating in them. It doesn't. The system exploits the gap between what people know and how they behave when stress is applied. This is why cycles repeat, not because systems reset, but because behavior resets. Each generation believes it has learned from the past. Each generation believes it understands risk better. Each generation believes it is more sophisticated. And each generation repeats the same mistakes under new labels. Dalio saw this clearly in market history. Every bubble was justified by a compelling story. New technology, new financial instruments, new economic paradigms. Each story sounded logical. Each story felt different. But beneath the narrative, behavior remained unchanged. Optimism replaced caution. Confidence replaced restraint. Human behavior has a structural flaw. It adapts to recent experience. When times are good, risk tolerance rises. When times are bad, risk tolerance collapses. This lag is what transfers wealth from the unprepared to the prepared. The system does not require people to be wrong forever, only long enough to overextend, long enough to panic, long enough to make irreversible decisions under pressure. Ray Dalio learned that emotion itself is not the enemy. Unmanaged emotion is. Fear and greed cannot be eliminated, but systems can be designed to limit their damage. This is why Dalio emphasized process over prediction. Predictions feed ego. Processes reduce error. Rules remove discretion at the worst possible moments. Most people do the opposite. They abandon structure when pressure rises. They improvise when stakes are highest. They confuse reaction with intelligence. Dalio's most important insight was not about markets. It was about humility. Accepting that perception is flawed. Accepting that confidence is unreliable. Accepting that the mind distorts reality under stress. This humility changed everything. Dalio stopped trying to feel right. He focused on being structured. He prioritized positioning over timing, preparation over reaction. The system does not adapt to people. People adapt to the system. Those who fail to understand this mistake repetition for randomness. They blame luck. They blame timing. They blame external forces. But outcomes are not random. They are behavioral. Debt creates pressure. Incentives guide action. Human behavior completes the cycle. This is why history does not repeat exactly, but it always rhymes. The structure remains. Only the surface changes. People who understand this are not immune to cycles, but they are not surprised by them. They expect tightening. They expect reversals. They expect pain to be redistributed, and because of that, they behave differently. Ray Dalio did not eliminate emotion. He designed around it. That is the difference. Most people believe intelligence protects them. The system knows better. It waits until emotion takes control. Which behavior do you believe causes the most damage over time? Overconfidence, fear, or short-term thinking? You don't lose because you feel emotion. You lose because the system knows exactly when you will.